This past week has been a moment of great loss and sorrow for the Tibetan people. Last week, Tibet was hit by a terrible earthquake, and at least 2,000 people have been confirmed dead, according to the mainstream media. And many Tibetans actually suspect and estimate that the real death toll is much higher than that. And 100,000 people have been rendered homeless and directly affected by this earthquake. And we hear that Tibetans in Tibet, from Kham, Amdo, Uzang, people traveling from places as far as Lhasa, and monks from all the various monasteries in the area, they are traveling to Kyegundo, the epicenter of the earthquake, to dig people out of the rubble, to bury the dead, to pray for them, to console them, and to offer food and shelter to the survivors. We also understand that Tibetan communities and support groups in exile have been doing everything they can to help at this critical moment. Tibetan communities in many countries around the world, including the US, Europe, India, Nepal, Australia, Canada, all these communities have come together and prayed and raised funds that they are collectively sending to the Tibetans in Tibet and the victims of the earthquake. On behalf of Students for Free Tibet, I want to thank all of you who have participated in this support effort.
Hi everyone, this is TenDolkar, SFT Executive Director, reporting live from New York City, where we have been hosting our SFT regional conference for this past weekend with our student activists from around the tri-state area. And all of us here today are deeply saddened by what has happened inside Tibet and express our deepest condolences to the victims of the earthquake and the survivors and their families. And just in the recent days, we have received an update from inside Tibet, from this affected area. The Tibetans inside this area have written a letter to the Chinese president and premier requesting a visit from His Holiness Dalai Lama to this affected area inside Tibet. Since many generations, we have a deep faith in His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Today, as we are suffering from a great physical and mental anguish, we really need His Holiness to visit the quake-affected area to pray for the departed souls and to provide solace to the broken hearts. Today, we request you, President Hu and Premier Wen, to find the compassion in your hearts and fulfill this desire of us, quake victims. We, the quake victims, numbering more than 10,000, implore you from our hearts to temporarily set aside your government's political differences with the Dalai Lama and kindly consider our request. With this invitation to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, we have no other objective apart from fulfilling our religious aspirations of praying for the departed souls and the survivors of the disaster. In this hour of distress, His Holiness's visit to offer prayers and condolences in person is the only way to heal our wounded hearts. There is no better way. So this letter was also posted in Tibetan at tibettimes.net, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama has also expressed his wishes to also visit the region and offer his support and his prayers and condolences. We are also asking our Tibetans and Tibetan supporters to write or call their local and the national government leaders and ask them to acknowledge the fact that this disaster, this earthquake has happened inside Tibet, has happened in Tibet, and has primarily affected the Tibetan people themselves. As for the students who are on campus wondering what you can do to help with this relief efforts, there are things that we are suggesting. One being that you can host a campus-wide candlelight vigil in remembrance of the victims and show your solidarity with the survivors and the families of the victims. Raising donations to help with the relief efforts, you can visit our website, studentsforafreetibet.org/TibetQuake, to find out which organizations are helping raise money to help with these efforts. You can speak or write to your Dean of Students and ask them to recognize that this tragedy has happened inside Tibet and has primarily affected the Tibetan people. And also to recognize that this tragedy also might have affected student body on campuses, or particularly Tibetan students and or Tibetan families living around the area. In the recent days, we have also learned that a dam in this affected area has been damaged by the earthquake and is now endangering even more lives. And this is one of the many dams that has been built by the Chinese government, and there are plans to build even more in this affected area. So we want to encourage the Tibetans and Tibet supporters to pressure the Chinese government to immediately stop that. Not only is destructive to the environment, but is also potential harm, like in this case, to even more lives. So please, this Thursday, Earth Day, we will be providing more information on how you can take action for the Tibetan people and the Tibetan environment. So please check back on our website for more information on how you can help, and also check back for updates on what's happening on the grounds inside Tibet in Kyegundo.